So this is a payments platform that essentially just set your hand over the sensor and it detects your palm to pay, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Maria, thank you so much for joining me today. You are the co-founder of FiveID, a payments platform that is doing some very sci-fi movie stuff. Can you give me a 30-second rundown of who you are and what you're building today?
Yeah, so that's right. I'm the co-founder of Five. I'm Maria, originally from Spain, Valencia. And today we are building a biometrics and authentication platform that actually what allows you is to pay, collect points, access just with your palm, fully contactless.
So this is a payments platform that essentially just set your hand over the sensor and it detects your palm to pay, correct?
That's right, yeah.
How did you come up with this in the first place? Why did you decide that, a technology like this was needed in today's world?
So actually, we first came out with it when I was at Revolut. So I was running payments for small and medium-sized businesses there. And at the time, we did many things. But actually, one of the things that was a problem is that no matter what product we did, obviously the cost for the merchant was almost increasing because it always had to go through Visa, Mastercard, which they have very high fees, especially in the US, actually, for a platform that's been there for ages. So it originally started off, okay, if we were able to remove Visa, Mastercard for in-person payments, how can we do this whilst providing a good experience for the end user? Because I guess you've seen all these QR codes in the pub where you scan and then just grab your beer. Okay, you're not going to pay at the supermarket like that. So that's how we originally started thinking about it, and that's how we started looking into biometrics, and so that the technology was mature enough to provide that seamless experience whilst being able to route the payment through any rail, actually not tied to Visa and Mastercard.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your background? You've been in the payments and the financial and FinTech industry for a while. What drew you in that direction to work in finance in the first place?
Totally by chance, I would say, most decisions in a way. So I'm an engineer by background. I did electrical and electronic engineering, and I knew nothing about payments. Originally started in that path, and then I wanted to change paths. And basically, at the time, I had two job offers. One was from another company and another one from Revolut. And what originally caught my attention was the product itself. I really liked using it. I was already a customer. And then I decided to take the leap, let's say. At that time, it was not what it is today. And that's how I first started getting to know the payments industry. And honestly, I understand that sometimes it sounds boring, maybe to people that are not familiar with it, but it's super interesting. And there is so much disruption that we can cause because it's been there. Honestly, there is a lot of improvement, but I think especially on in-person payments, there is yet.
What do you see as things that needed disrupting in that industry when you were working in, these companies prior and before starting Five? What was catching your eye of stuff that you wanted to change or areas of the industry that you felt were ripe for disruption, like you said?
Yes. So one of them, as I was mentioning, is the fees. Mm-hmm. We have assumed, you need to pay with your payment card, Visa, Amex, Mastercard. Well, now we are seeing, especially on online payments, that you can link it, let's say, to stablecoins. You could do account to account. So there is so much that we can bring onto the in-person payments world. That's one thing. And then the other aspect is still when you go into the shop and you are going to pay and you want to collect those points for loyalty, it never feels like a seamless interaction. There's multiple steps that you need to do. When in theory, it should be literally just go and do it. Mm-hmm. That's one. And then the final point, which is not necessarily linked to payments, but is still very important and a core part of what we do, is identity. So let's say we know your bank account, which has done all the KYC on yourself, and they know who you are, how old are you, and basically all your details. Yet when you are going to pay, they are still asking you, are you over 25, over 18, over whatever?
So you are bringing all these components together, and you guys at Five are working on the software and the hardware to make this possible. Can you walk me through what those two different kind of components of your business are?
Yes, so we believe that for this type of technology, we need to do also the hardware to make sure that it works seamlessly. And also a big part of it is what you were saying earlier. How is this possible? Is it working? So honestly, the hardware is a very important part of it, where you can actually touch it, use it, experience it, and have that good experience. So we do both of it, and we heavily believe in both of them.
Can you tell me more about the research and like the development process of deciding that this was something that you wanted to build? You know, the Palm payments was something you wanted to, you know, start creating more access for. Then how did you turn that idea into these physical products? What was, you know, the team that you had to put around yourself for like the different trials and errors to make sure that both the hardware and the software work?
A very intense journey, I would say. I'm fast in a way, that's why. So when we first started is obviously it's on the hardware in a way, because, so for context, I have done hardware and software before, Revolut actually. So we did have some experience on that area. But one of the first points is, okay, what type of hardware do we need to be able to enable this technology? Because you cannot use any hardware, right? So we did have multiple iterations on it. Like I see some of the pictures that we have, like honestly, it's like with tape around it. Okay, I just need this to be robust. And then we trialed it in many different scenarios. For example, one of the scenarios that we trialed it was at universities. And so we went onto the university and we had multiple people trying the product to understand if it was intuitive enough and also if the hardware was robust enough for all those interactions. So definitely we went through different prototypes until we arrived to what we have to.
And for people who have not seen it yet, can you explain what the physical, you know, infrastructure looks like today?
Yes. So, I mean, you can check our website also for anybody, but it's up there. So it's just literally, it's a small terminal like this, with the sensor on the top and the display is slightly inclined, so you can see it properly whilst you are putting your palm over it. Yeah, it's like a small device like this.
And similar to someone would tap to pay with their phone, just with their hand, essentially.
Exactly. And that's actually a very important point because we do palm payments and card payments. So you can go to our terminal, you can tap your card, it will work, or you can use it for palm. So it's both technologies that are supported there.
How are you collecting the biometric data from somebody's palm to get them integrated into your system? Is it, you know, how are you gathering that from before they use it for the first time? What does that collection process look like?
So it's actually super simple. Honestly, you can do it in 30 seconds. You sign up for the first time, you put your palm, you link your payment method, and that's it. You need to sign up once, and then you can use it in any location that supports Five.
And can you sign up just like at any store that this is happening at? Okay.
Correct.
And so then you link it to one of your payments, like, you know, a card that you would have on file, essentially. Where are most people using this technology now? Is it like the supermarket? Is it at a restaurant? Where are you available today?
So today, the use case where we went with, the first one, is fast food, but healthy fast food, let's say higher end, I would say, which is in areas where people go there often, let's say once a week or once every 2 weeks, and they want to get their food fast. They have long queues, and that's what we focus on, making that fast. That's one thing. And then the other one is access, especially for gyms and health centers where you can just get around and you don't need anything, literally just by yourself, you can get around. So that's for today.
Where do you see this going in the future? Like how many different use cases do we have for biometric screening for, you know, access to a door, whatever it is besides payments?
Yes. So for us, there's like a few things that are coming next. The perfect use case would be stadiums and supermarkets. And that's what we are focusing on going forward. Because supermarkets, you go there often, and stadiums isn't the perfect use case for it. That's on the, let's say, merchant side. And then in terms of the product itself, next one, it will be stablecoins, crypto. I guess it's a very hot topic at the moment, but definitely there is a lot of potential. As I was saying, we already support linking your palm to a card, linking your palm account to account. And the next one would be crypto.
Do consumers seem hesitant about this? Are they excited about it? Any skepticism? Like, what are you hearing from the users of the technology today?
So today what we see is like there are some people that are not up for it, which is normal, it's a new tech. And then the people that do like it actually love it. So honestly, we get messages like, "Oh, I like this so much. Can you expand here and here?" And like actually customers asking for it. So I would say today it's like really polarized. It's on one end or the other, but we do see more on the positive side.
What does security look like in terms of when you gather that data, biometric data, fingerprint, a palm print, like that's very core to like who a human is, and the security around like, their assets or whatever. How do you protect that? How do you explain that protection to your consumers who might be hesitant?
Exactly. So a big part of it is communication and customer education. Technically, everything is encrypted. Like we come from a payments background, which is heavily regulated. So we are used to this type of security, let's say. But it's more about communicating to the user. And the key aspect, it is the case, is that you are in control of your data. Like you don't want to use it anymore. Perfect. Just message us and we'll remove it. And also you decide when to show your palm. It's a very clear action, right? It's not like your face or your fingerprint where you leave it everywhere. Like this is literally like the palm itself, right, without touching it. So I think this is a very important part.
Yeah, so people seem maybe more receptive to a palm that has to be more intentional than something that, like a fingerprint, like you said, that you can accidentally pay for something.
Exactly.
What has your conversation been like with investors? Like, are investors interested in this sort of innovation? Do they see a need for it? Or how have those conversations shaped up?
So far we've done pre-seed and seed round, and the conversations have shifted a lot. Originally on the pre-seed round, we had a lot of people passing at us because they just didn't think this was possible. And then the seed round that we've done, obviously we've done it like with the product live, multiple locations, it's going great. So the conversations have literally changed from, I don't believe you can do this, to actually, oh, wow, I'm really interested. I do believe like this is part of the future. So we've seen that shift.
What is the pitch that you give to investors today?
So the pitch that we give is we start with the payments one that I was mentioning about Visa, Mastercard, being able to route those payments through other rails. That's the first one. And then obviously there is the long-term identity vision, which is not, let's say, next month, obviously, but it's what we do believe in the future.
Yeah. And how do you plan to take this into the future? Like with the identity portion of things, like what do you see as the next and like the ultimate capability that a platform like yours can really achieve while they're, creating the technology and also gathering all this data? What's like the future that you are, essentially pitching to investors or consumers or the market in general?
Yes. So in the end, in the longer term, we will be able to guarantee the identity of who you are, and that Alex is Alex, right? So we don't necessarily need to be at the forefront, but we can provide that infrastructure and those rails to connect different parties and communicate between them. So that's why I was saying, like, when you buy a drink at the supermarket, it's a very good example. We will be able to provide those rails to tell to, let's say here in the UK, M&S or Waitrose, whatever, that you are over the age that is required, and we don't necessarily need to share any data. It's just yes or no answer. So providing that infrastructure to connect all the different parties in a complete anonymous way is where we see.
As you've been talking to investors and pitching these big ideas, but also knowing that, like you said, that's like in the future and you're focused on other things right now, what has the money gone towards in your most recent rounds?
Yes, so right now we've been focusing on building the team, growing the team, because traditionally we've been much smaller team, so growing the team and then strengthening the product, obviously, and now it's about deployment.
What does the team look like today? How many people are on it?
So today we are 10 people.
Okay.
We are looking to grow it more, and the core focus with the last round is really increase the breadth of the merchants that we serve.
And how many terminals do you guys have active today?
So today we have active around 80 terminals, more or less.
And is that central to the UK? Is it around Europe, or locationally, where are you available?
So today we are available in the UK and Ireland.
Okay, gotcha. And as far as expansion goes, you mentioned like there are maybe different use cases, but also in terms of like these different regions, what are your plans for expansion beyond the UK and Ireland? Do you want, are you focused on across Europe first? Are you going to come to the US? Like, what are the plans for this?
So definitely we'll go to the US. I guess that's, in fact, when we came up with this idea, both my co-founder and I were based in New York at the time. So we're familiar with the market. And yeah, next one would be US.
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome so far?
Every day there's a challenge, honestly, like it's crazy. I could not choose one. It's like there are all sorts of different challenges. And I would say like a lot of the challenges are not even core to the product that we do, to be honest.
Yeah. What are some examples of that? Because I think that this is something that a lot of founders say is like every day there's something new that comes up, a new like fire to put out. As you know, a leader of this company, what are some things that have come up that you maybe didn't expect to have to deal with? Or, you know, in the moment you're like, this is not what I maybe signed up for, but it is just part of running a business.
Yeah. So on the hardware side, for example, there are a lot of things when different components arrive and then for whatever reason there is like a batch that is faulty and then timelines are tight. How do we manage to get those basically components correctly in a timely manner? Also, when I say we build the terminals, we actually build them, right? So we do it ourselves today. We are scaling this. But if for whatever reason there's one component we find that it's faulty, then you need to figure it out if this component went into all the others. Where it's not today the case, but...
And so is this just your team of 10 that's building those?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And where are you doing that? Do you guys have an office? Is there like a warehouse that you guys are at? Where are you guys setting up?
Warehouse/office.
Okay.
We call it. It's an office, but it looks
It
like
all
a
happens
warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah, here in London.
Okay, gotcha. What types of team members do you have today? Who was your first hire? Like what title-wise or department-wise does the team look like?
So all of the people on the team, we are quite technical, except one person on the business development side. But everybody's quite technical. The first people that we hire were all engineers, like software developers.
Gotcha. Where does AI come into play?
So every day, actually, I think it would have been impossible to have a company like the company that we have today, to the scale that we have today, without AI. We use it every day for all the tasks that are non-core, let's say, to increase productivity. That's how we are able to sustain what we have. Is
it also embedded into the platform and like the software that you guys are building for Five, or is it mostly like on the team side of things internally, how you guys are, automating workflows or things like that?
Yes and no. So obviously on the biometric side, you have all the machine learning models. So that's core to it.
Yeah.
And then AI as itself, yes, we use it for automating as much as we can, like literally every day.
How much have the changes in the AI industry and how rapidly, quickly it's growing and evolving and allowing for new capabilities, how has that speed impacted what you guys are building? Have you had to either change your platforms at all or iterate because of that, or has it allowed you to iterate, or what has that speed meant for what you guys are then able to produce on the other end?
So it's been like since we started, we've already been quite opinionated in the sense that, hey, we need to leverage the technology and we need to use it to our advantage. So it hasn't changed in the sense that we are using it more and we didn't use it in a way like that. But it's more than what we can achieve with it now. We can see a huge impact. So for example, just last week, we built a full proof of concept ourselves without engineers, just putting a prompt. I'm not saying this is ready to be deployed. Please don't get me wrong. But it allows us to have something that works, that you can show to the client, okay, what do you think? And then iterate on it without actually putting proper engineering time, which of course we will. But that, for example, we tried this, as I was saying, I think last week, 8 months ago, I don't think it would have been possible.
Yeah,
so totally. We see it's like the output of it is increasing a lot.
And it's the speed at which you can then talk to customers or make those decisions has probably increased as well.
Exactly.
What would you say are your biggest pieces of advice for other young founders coming up, especially women in FinTech, because this is a very male-dominated industry? How do you advise other women and young female founders to make a stamp on the industry like you guys have?
I guess patience is the first one, to be honest. Patience, for sure. Patience, don't take it personal, because I do think there is a difference. I mean, I don't like to say it, but there is.
Yeah.
So patience, don't take it personal, and then just keep doing as everybody else.
Yeah. And then what about in terms of building your team? What do you look for in the people that you bring on, both as employees, but also on the cap table from your investors? Who are you really looking to, and how have you been able to bring on either like personalities or expertise to continue to grow? What's your advice on like how to find the right people to put beside you?
Yeah, so for us, the first thing that it's important is, or at least for me, it's passion.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have passion for what we do. And I understand that maybe as a new joiner, it might not be apparent for you straight away, but you need to be passionate. We spend like so many hours and like really engage for what we do. And this, I don't think it can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
Either you have it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
And if it's not Five, okay, good luck, find another place. But it is like, it is there or it is not there. I would say that's one thing. Then curiosity. So regardless of the role, curiosity about what you are doing in your space and willingness to learn more about it, and then hard work.
What are some predictions that you have for the future of the fintech industry, especially as AI is changing so much, but future of fintech, what are you predicting for the next like 1 to 5 years?
So I think the team sizes are going to be reduced significantly. We are already seeing this. I think it was like Block a couple of days ago or yesterday. They announced it already that they are cutting their workforce. So I do think that we will see this across basically more companies. So I think the way that the work is going to get done is going to change. Mm-hmm. Not only in fintech, but in other industries, but obviously in tech especially.
Yeah. You mentioned at the beginning that this industry might seem boring to some people, but it is super exciting to you. What would you say you're most excited about working on today and into the future?
So for me, it's the ability to make that impact and change how things work, especially in the in-person space, because literally it will affect anybody. So it's really to make that impact. And then now with the rise of stablecoins, all the regulations that is happening in the US, that opens like so many possibilities. That's, well, I'm really keen. Yeah.
The industry's ready to be disrupted.
Yes, honestly, yes.
What are some predictions you have about the future of the cyberspace or the cybersecurity or using these different technologies as so many of these emerging technologies are changing at such a fast pace?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as you are saying, yes, it's changing at such a fast pace that I think it's going to change how we interact completely, especially in the online space. And now the key, it's going to be how can you guarantee that identity? Going back to what I was saying, today, let's say you can have an agent doing a full shopping for you, but then how do we guarantee, okay, yeah, it's Alex that it's there? So I would say that's where we need to...
What fears do you have about that, if any?
I don't have any fears as such in a way, maybe because I'm optimistic, but it's not because I don't think that problems will not come, but it's rather because whatever problems come, I hope or I believe that we will have the tools or the right people to tackle them.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a pleasure to learn more about what you guys are building at Five.
Thank you. Thank you so much.